Hey everybody, Mega Ruler 31 back here for FSi DFS. I'm going to break down the Xfinity race for NASCAR. TK and I couldn't hook up with this, so it's going to be a very busy weekend. There's actually 4 races at Pocono. We have the ARCA one, which we don't normally cover because it's not a DK yet, maybe one day. Trucks, Xfinity, and we have Cup. And the problem is that Xfinity is going to be one of those ones where the race is at like 5 o'clock on Saturday, and then practice and qualifying is Saturday morning. So the turnaround is just going to be impossible for us to figure out who to play and to do a video and to produce it and upload it with our work schedules and everything else that's going on there. But we will be able to do that for trucks, as trucks luckily practice and qualify on Friday. So we'll be able to try to get that video up on Friday morning right now as I record this. And then Saturday night or Sunday morning, we should be able to have all the cup information and get that out. So this, again, if you're looking at the screen and looking at this video or listening to us on the podcast, we do not have any information. So this again is just me taking data from the season, taking data from the track, taking data from similar tracks, their current form, mixing it all together into a giant formula, and then trying to spit out and see, where people would qualify based on how their average running position has been last year at Pocono and on similar tracks, and then just kind of breaking down like who could potentially be good plays. So again, this is not actual data. These are not actual projections. This is just a lot of conjecture based on data information that we have that who could do well. So check back at this video. Like I said, it's lock is at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe, on Saturday. So around 4 p.m., we'll give you an hour to build your lineups. Come check back to this video, and after qualifying and after everything by 4 p.m., we will have some update notes for you as like who our new core plays are, and any notes or anything that you need to know. So I appreciate you watching this first look episode of this for the Xfinity Pocono race. And again, like I said, check back at about 4 p.m. on Saturday, and we should have updated information for you. But let's just run through the field and break down things for you. So I have Justin Algar as number one here, and he won last week's race. He's in really good form. He's a real threat to win the title this year. He's been good at Pocono. He's ran 6 races there, and I skewed his data a little bit here, though, because he had a 33% DNF rate. So his first race and his third race, he had accidents, and he finished really bad, which made his average finish 13th or something. But in taking that out, his average finish has been 5.5. He's led 59 laps. He's just 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. Last year, he finished third. I believe it was Cindric won, and then Gibbs was second. So I think he's got a great shot at the pole here. Here's the hard thing, too, because the only tracks that are really comparable to Pocono are Michigan, which they haven't run yet this year, and Indianapolis, but they don't run the Brickyard anymore as like a track. They run it as a road course, which is sad. So I think Auto Club is really, and maybe Nashville, are really the only comparable things to kind of really look at this year with like a similar track style. So his average running position for both of those was decent, so he comes number one up in my model. So I think he's a great shot at the pole. Junior Motorsports has great equipment. He knows the track, so definitely think I'm looking at him as one of my prime plays. No matter where he qualifies, I'll probably still stick to that. Noah Gragson has the metrics to be second, but he's been better early in the season. He's just been average recently. He's kind of turning into Bowman from NASCAR, where he's just kind of like a vanilla driver. I don't know. It doesn't seem to have the drive. Maybe he knows he's going to Cup next year and he's just kind of coasting, and maybe it just hasn't been announced yet, or it just doesn't really seem like. Or maybe he's matured. He's just not super aggressive like he used to be, causing problems. Maybe he's actually learning how to become a good driver and trying to get as much as he can out of Xfinity without running people over. So if you look at his numbers, 10th average finish at Pocono, really hasn't led a ton of laps. one top 5, two top 10. So I think he's definitely a GPP. Like if he gets the pole and there's like a bunch of marginal guys behind him that qualified really well that are just going to fade back and that he's going to be able to get up there and like lead for a while, then definitely, he'd move to the cash realm, but really not super excited. Ty Gibbs is cash. Like he's only raced here once, finished second. He seems like he does really well. Uh, Auto Club 9.9 average running position. Doesn't really super concern me here, but I think he definitely can probably finish in the top 5. Will probably qualify in the top 5. So again, it's just seeing if you can fit him and Algar in the same lineup is going to be the question. AJ Allmendinger, I think he can put his cash. Like his equipment's not as good as it was before Cully moved up into Cup, but this guy is definitely a top 10 driver at Pocono. Definitely has top 5 to top 3 upside here. My model actually has him finishing number 1 just based on, but he only has one Xfinity race here that really looked at. Struggled a little bit at Auto Club, but overall the rest of his metrics have been decent. So I think you consider him in cash, but again, just see where he qualifies. You might have to draw a line, or he might be like a nice pivot off of some of the 10K guys to have a second guy in your lineup. Daniel Hamrick, like he's always been decent at Pocono also. The only problem with him is he's not in the same car he was before. He was in a Joe Gibbs racing car last year, and a lot of the stats you look at, that's where you get that. So I think he'll probably qualify in the top 10, probably finish in the bottom half of the top 10. So GPP for me. Cole Custer, really love this play. He won Auto Club similar track. He has been decent at Pocono. He's got a win here, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, average finish of 4.3 in Xfinity. I think definitely if he might end up with a pole too if Algar doesn't get it. But I think if you're playing two 10K guys, it's going to be Custer and Algar just based on their experience here. I know Ty Gibbs is probably a decent play. Always the wild card at any single track, but he's like more boom or bust for me. So I think, Custer's going to be my other prime play. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is another interesting decision. He's dropping down. Hasn't really raced much in Xfinity since he won the championship, I think it was back in 11 or 12. But his numbers at Pocono aren't great, but he did win Texas in this car, so definitely someone to consider. This Big Machine Racing is a single car team, but they've dropped Jay Buford and they've brought in some really good NASCAR guys, and they've been decent. So I'm interested in them definitely here. So Stenhouse, like you said, you got a lot of tough decisions up here, and I definitely probably put Stenhouse over Allmendinger and Hamrick and Gregson if I'm ranking them. But so I think I'd go probably Algar, Custer, Gibbs, then Stenhouse, and then the rest of the guys we talked about. Austin Hill, I think he's a GPP here. He did race last year here, I believe, and it was 25th, although in the trucks he did decent. He was up in the top 5. So, but this car is a little bit different than the trucks. Struggled at Auto Club, the one that I'm really comparing this to. So, I know Childress cars are decent. They're probably like the third tier down or second tier down underneath like the JR and the Joe Gibbs cars. It'd probably be them and like Colleague as like in that next tier. So you really need like a decent car to keep the speed here on like such a long track. Riley Herbst, I like him too. Got him finishing 8th, starting 9th. But my concern here is he just finds trouble. He wrecked last year here, I believe. He finished 35th, so he just has such bad luck. I just can't do it in cash. Sam Mayer, he's been improving. Have him starting 10th, finishing 8th. Last year he was 18th here. Did decent at Auto Club, was in the top 10 most of the day. So I think you can consider him in cash, but like I said, at 9.5, there's like so many better options. You're probably just gonna pay $200 more for Stenhouse unless he gets to the pole or like really like spins out in qualifying, cuts a tire or something, and ends up down low. Then that's the case with him. Jeremy Clements has been really good at Pocono. 6 races here, 15.8 average finish. He finished 13th here last year. One top five, one top 10. I really like him. Even his former auto club was top 20. So if he qualifies below the top 15, I think he is a very, very strong cash play at 7K. Very, very, very solid play. If he qualifies 15 or higher, I still think he's in consideration. In the top 10, he might turn more into a GPP play because I don't know if he can like hold that much position. He should still finish well, but keep your eye on Jeremy Clement, somebody I really, really like here. Brett Moffatt on the other side too has been really, really good at Pocono, and he's cheap at 7.4. I know he hasn't had a great season, but just looking at his numbers and 2 races here, ninth average finish, 11th last year. Uh, his average running position with comparable tracks has been good too. So he might not be the prime guy when all's said and done. We'll probably find somebody cheaper that's starting that has more place differential. So, but I really like Moffatt and Clements here. So again, when I was first building this, I had to put prime on somebody, and now that I think about it, Clements might be the better play. But again, we'll just have to see how they qualify. Josh Berry, I think he can be a cash play here also. Finished 6th here last year in this first time. 6.3 average running position at Auto Club. Did really well there. The rest of his matrix looked decent too. Is in JR Motorsports car. Has a good car. 9.9 again. The pricing is going to be kind of hard to fit in. I'd probably lean Stenhouse, but let's see how they qualify for that. Ryan C. GPP usually qualifies in the top 15 and is decent. Finished 6 races here, so he's got some experience, but he has like average finishes 20th. So I would probably look for him to finish or start 20th or further on back to really consider him in cash. Other than that, he's a GPP player. Brandon Jones is always GPP. He's in great equipment. He's going to race the ARCA race. That's why his number is in yellow, just to remind me of that. 6 races here. He's only finished half of them. So he's wrecked out in 3 of them. But in the other ones, he's had 2 top 10s. And last year he finished 7th. So he's always a boomer bust play. He's like Kyle Busch. I keep on saying it over and over and over again. He's the Kyle Busch of Xfinity. He is going to dominate or he's going to destroy his car. There's no in between for him. So Landon Castle really struggled at Auto Club. Finished 21st here last year. Average track finish is 21st, so he only had like 1 race here. Not in great equipment. In this Collie car, so GPP, not interested. If you're in this range, you're looking at probably Moffatt or Clements or Jed Burton right below him here, who finished 8th here last year. He's been better form, even though he like ran into the back of a car or somebody ran into the back of him. He had a pretty vicious wreck last week, but that was not his fault at all. But I know TK and I haven't really been on our motorsports just because when they went to a 3-team car team, they've really seemed to water down everything. But I think here we're okay with it. I think that he's definitely, again, depends on where he qualifies. If he qualifies in probably below 15 is where like the line is. I definitely think he's in play in the 7K range. Sheldon Creed, same thing. He's actually done better than Hill here. He has 3 races at Pocono, and I think it's more in the truck race. He finished really well last year. I think he finished maybe 2nd here in the truck race, but he's he's a good driver, and it doesn't matter kind of what track you put him on. Said 2nd-tier equipment, so definitely consider him in cash at 8K, depending on where he starts. Now, if he starts in the top like 5, then you really got to look at it and think, I don't know, even in the top 10. But if he starts outside the top 10, like I have him starting 18th and finishing 20th, but I think he can do better than that. I think it probably took into consideration some of the other track data might have weighed him down a little bit, but I think he's going to be a fine play. Ronnie Basha Jr. He profiles well, but here's the thing: like, can he actually make the race? Like Ronnie Bassett Jr. has been an awesome driver when he was with GGM, but just not for his own team. I think his father owns the team or somebody. So like 45, like he's somebody I consider as a opponent. He's probably the cheapest driver if he can even make the field. I think there's only like one car that's not going to make the field. They usually take 38, and you're going to see I have like 40 drivers listed, and that's because Weatherman and Unuzi are both listed for the 34 car because nobody knows what the situation is there. Weatherman will qualify, Unuzi jumps in, Unuzi will qualify it or try to and not qualify. So we really don't know who's going to be racing that car. So there's two drivers there. So that's what gives us like the 40. So that means one car's not going to make it. It's probably going to be Brandon Poole from Mike Harmon Racing, but it could very well be Ronnie Bassett. But Ronnie Bassett has been like a top um, 15 driver at times when he's been in a DGM car. So I don't know. I think he's fine as a driver. If he makes the field, I think he can do stuff. That's why like the composite like ranked him as like 19th in starting position, which I think is way, way, way too high. He'll probably start much, much lower than that. Maybe even be the last car in. So, if he's dead last, like definitely a GPP, I'd consider him because he really can't lose you points. At 45 is the cheapest guy. I mean, he's just it's kind of like it turns into a free square there. So we'll just have to see. Now, if he qualifies like 30th and like his practice speed isn't like elite or anything, then I'd be more weary on him. This next two here, almost identically priced, Alex LeBay and Myatt Snyder. Myatt Snyder's been in some hard crashes too recently. So just looking at the two of them, I think they're both decent. I like Snyder a little bit better. He's had two races here, average finish of 7th, one top 5, two top 10s. I think they were kind of identical at Auto Club, kind of identical at Pocono. They're like $2 or like $100 apart. So I think these are two guys to kind of consider as fill-ins for your cash lineups. Brandon Brown GPP, 3 races here, 20th average finish. So I think if depending where he starts, if he starts below 20, I think he's somebody to look at. If he starts above 20, then probably going to fade him. Anthony Alfredo, the other final Armor Motorsports one, he's been decent here. He's only raced here twice, but average finish of 5th. Like I think he finished like 5th and 6th, so that's decent. If you look at Auto Club, he wasn't great there, so I think again in the 7K range, I'd probably drop down to LeBay or Snyder depending on qualifying, but Anthony Alfredo is definitely in the conversation too, but definitely like Jeremy Clements over all of them. Now we have a couple of ARCA guys who are going to be running the ARCA race. Sam Smith, like he's had very limited runs in anything. He's ran one race in Xfinity, so I don't know why it showed up as a Pocono track race. But I believe it's a road course at Road Ride Technology. He's run a lot of ARCA stuff, and he's an up and coming guy. And again, like he's going to get some laps in the ARCA race, and he's in the Joe Gibbs All Star car here, which I don't know, like with a full weekend with like Cup drivers and truck drivers, like why he's the one that they picked, but. Again, I think he's intriguing. His price is way high at 82. I can't do anything with him GPP unless he like wins the pole or something. Is the fastest qualifying, or we're like, whoa, where did this guy come from? So again, I might throw him in one lineup just for speculation, but I don't think he's going to be in my major GPP lineup. Rav Kruth, he is pretty bad. He's really struggled in Alpha Prime Racing. It's a decent car, but nowhere close to what Smith is going to have. 31st in 2 races at Pocono, I think. So I just probably would avoid him. I have him as GPP. We'll have to see where he qualifies, what practice look like. We're not really interested. Santino Fiduci, I am really interested in here. This guy is actually decent. He was an IndyCar driver until he got into some trouble, purposely wrecked somebody, and then had some like questionable sponsorships on his car and got like banned. And then he has been running, but this Sam Hunt car has been outstanding at Pocono and when in similar tracks here, and he's been a decent driver. So he's somebody that's definitely on my radar that I'm going to be looking at. So just remember his name. We'll see where he qualifies. If he qualifies up in the top 10 again, it probably won't play him. But if he qualifies 15th or below, definitely somebody that I think can get up probably to like at least 20th position. So he's someone that I'm definitely watching at 50 or at 78. I know it's a little bit expensive. Jeremy Clements definitely. Brett Moffatt still like them better, but Fiduci is somebody that I have my eye on. Josh Williams is a fade. Finished dead last year, Pocono last year. 5 races, average finish at 27th, and even worse equipment here. Not interested. Mason Massey, GPP. Looks like he could finish 27th, so if he starts 30th or below, I consider him because there might be a little bit of place differential through attrition. Kyle Weatherman, if he's actually going to be in the car on Sunday or on Saturday at 5 o'clock when we're racing at Snoddy, I think he's fine. He's done well here. 2 races, top 20, finished 26th last year, so 20th average. So 20 is like the magic number for him. So if Weatherman qualifies below 20th at 66, I think he's in play. Sage Karam, no, not interested. 3 races here, 31 average. He's just not a decent driver. He could probably end up with negative points here. David Starr, GPP also. I'm going to move my video screen up here so you can see the I don't know where it's going to end up, but so I'll move this up here. So if you look at David Starr, not super interested, 25th. Stephen Parsons, GPP also. I kind of like the 5 BJ McLeod car out of all of them. It seems to be one of the better ones. Finished 21st here in 1 race, so that's not bad. Vargas not interested in. He was horrible last year in Pocono, finished 39th. Emmerling, he's more of a road course guy. I don't know how he'll do on this type of track. Curry, again, GPP. Timmy Hill, like I liked Hills better in like the truck series than I do here. He does have one top 10 in 4 races, but the MBM cars aren't great. Same thing with Yaley. Like he's got experience here. These guys, if they start in the low 30s and there's going to be some attrition in front of them, I think there's somebody that you can look at, but overall I'm not super interested in. Kyle Sieg, the same thing. Like he started out really good, but he just really hasn't qualified well or done well recently. 1 race here, 18th, so, or maybe it wasn't here, maybe it was Auto Club. I don't think he has raced here, so that might be the Auto Club number I just put in for perspective. So, and 25th average running position. So again, if he starts anywhere behind 25th, and again, we'll just have to look at the practice speed and stuff. So we'll find some nuggets down here, I'm sure, in sifting through the dust at the bottom here. Poole and Inua, not interested in. Like I said, Poole probably won't qualify in this Mark Harmon car. And that's the other thing too, is Poole has been very, very good at Pocono, but this Mike Harmon car has just been horrible. So he's another one where if he was in a different car, I think it would be a much better situation. Like he'd be a top 15 driver, but in this car, I just don't think he's going anywhere. So, and then Inua, I'm just not interested in him at all. So, again, that kind of wraps things up. Just kind of a quick first look at Pocono. Just really to recap, Algar and Custer are my favorite guys. Clements I really like, and Moffatt in the mid range there, and then keep your eye on Fiduci, and then for like cheap guys like Bassett could be a decent punt. We'll have to see if he even makes it in there, and then I'm sure like once we see the qualifying and stuff, we'll be able to figure out who the other values are for you. So check back at 4 p.m. on Saturday to the video, and we should be able to have some updates for you after qualifying and practice. So stay tuned to the channel for the truck video and the cup video. Appreciate you watching, and be sure to check us out on our podcast now on Apple and Spotify, so you can listen to us if you don't have time to watch us on YouTube. And like our videos, subscribe to our channel. It all helps us go just deeper, to be out there to help people see what we're doing, and to be able to be helped just like you're being helped by watching this free content. If you want more information on FSi DFS, just go to the description of the video, and all the information is there on how to get into our Discord and our social media and all that stuff too. So appreciate you watching. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay cool. I know it's hot in a lot of areas. Drink a lot of water, wear your sunscreen, and we'll see you next time.